Everybody. So let's go ahead and get into the topic of discussion for the week. Right now, we're going to be talking about threads because if you are anything like me and you were on social media this week, then you saw some things pop up inside of your Instagram feed and on many other platforms talking about this topic right here, threads. My name is Makita Rodriguez, and I'm a coach, consultant, and digital agency owner. I help businesses to get going online with their tech and everything, and with their social media, and in so many different ways. But I'm a business coach and a business consultant, and I know that a lot of times we tend as entrepreneurs, business owners, just individuals in general, to hop on bandwagons because of FOMO. And right now, what I am seeing is a lot of people get into something that I'm not sure that they thought through all the way. And so I wanted to go ahead and make this video. I have been, partaking in some conversations where I've heard some people say, if you make the video, if you post the content, I'll go read it, watch it so I can learn about it. Because these types of things scare some people and they don't really have time or energy to get into it. But that's why people like me are here. So we're going to go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So, first, we're going to start off with talking about what is threads, right? And I'm going to do some things. I'm going to read some of these articles to you because basically what happened is that yesterday morning when I got on Instagram, and really by the afternoon time, I think, and more so into the evening, some of the bigger accounts that I was following, all of a sudden they had threads pop up on their pages. And, I was like, okay, what's going on here? I heard about the new coming changes on Twitter and I heard about new things coming up. But suddenly, everywhere, there were these thread accounts being posted on Instagram. And so I determined that, I was going to go ahead, I was going to go check it out. I downloaded the app. And then when I went into it, I saw that what I had to do was link the app to my Instagram. And then there was this terms of service information with these bold writing on there. And as I began to read it, it said that, Threads was going to be pulling in content from other platforms and then posting onto Threads. And then if you deleted something on another platform, it would erase from Threads. But if you deleted something on Threads, it wouldn't necessarily erase from platforms that it was not in control of. However, it seemed to be inside the writing, the stipulation was that if it was a platform that Threads did control and you deleted something off of Threads, then it would also delete off of another account. So this kind of set me off a little bit. I felt a little bit uncomfortable with it, so I didn't continue on with my terms of service. I backed up. And I said, you know what, let me go figure out what this is really saying because, this is legal jargon as well. And so sometimes we have to be very careful because we'll read something and we'll just think, you know what, it's not saying what I think it says, or it can't be saying what I think it says because that would be too simple, or it's written in Legalese, which Legalese is, a language that sometimes confuses the normal reader. And so I decided to, you know what, let me take a step back. Let me just go kind of do some research and find out what's going on. And so what I found out was the next morning, because I am subscribed to TechCrunch, and as a business owner that, I do a lot of things on the tech side, and then as a business coach that helps with tech and strategy, I subscribe to a lot of, business and tech emails and things like that. And so first thing this morning, and actually it was, first thing this morning, I got an email, and it may have even been yesterday, but I got an email and it was talking about, threads and the fact that, when you delete your Instagram account, when you delete your Threads account, it will delete your Instagram account. And then, I went about my day and everything, and then I ended up on a Facebook Live with a previous coach of mine in her community. And what I learned is that, by the droves, people are like signing up for Threads. And I also saw that there are really big, huge companies and huge influencers and celebrities and things like that that are also signing up and bringing thousands and millions of followers with them as well. And as a business owner, as a business coach, if I could be honest with you, my heart sank. And the reason why is because a lot of times I see that business owners, celebrities, people with brands, they make choices with technology and they don't really understand quite what they're doing yet. But because they're following the trends, they go ahead and get themselves on a platform or start taking actions, and they're not really sure how it's going to impact them. So, not many things would impact huge organizations in the way that this possibly could if it's not corrected. But I just wanted to make sure to just kind of take some time and discuss this, because you may be someone that doesn't know anything about it. Maybe you are considering using Threads. Maybe you've already started your account and you're just trying to figure out, like, what should I do? Should I keep it? Should I delete it? I'm going to tell you to just pause on the deletion, pause until we get through this video. And depending on the length of this video, I may have to make another one, but I did just want to come in here and, have this conversation with you. So first, let's talk about what is Threads. Okay, so Threads, we're going to start off with the fact that Thread is from Meta, and Meta is technically Facebook, right? And Facebook/Meta owns Instagram. So if that was confusing to anyone, these are some changes that happened not too long ago. But whenever you see Meta, that is talking about Facebook. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. So it says, what is Instagram's Threads app? All your questions answered. And again, this is coming from TechCrunch. And so it says, in the last few months, Twitter's alternatives, new and old, have found an audience willing to try out a new text-based social network. Okay, Mastodon, Bluesky, Spill, and T2 are some of the social media platforms people are trying out. Now, Meta has stepped into the game with a big launch tied to Instagram. And this is one of the keys here, tied to Instagram. So what is Threads? How can you create an account? Threads is a Meta text-based Twitter rival. It is tied to your Instagram account, so you can create an account by logging in using your Instagram credentials. How is it different from Twitter? Currently, there are no paid tiers and ads on the app. However, your verification mark from Instagram is carried over, even if you have paid for Meta Verified. Users can take advantage of the Instagram network to find people to follow. The app has just launched, but it doesn't have Twitter-like features such as long video, direct messages, and live audio rooms. How to use Threads. The platform is currently available on iOS and Android in more than 100 countries. However, due to privacy concerns, the app is not available in the EU. Because you're logging in through your Instagram account, you will be able to follow all the folks that you follow, and you will also import your username, name, and settings like block list. What is this talking about? This is talking about like all your profile functions, your username. It asks you if you want to go ahead and follow everyone. Basically, if you are already logged into your Instagram account, then as soon as you go into Threads, it's going to begin transferring all your data over once you start clicking the OK buttons. Okay, you don't have to sign into anything. So how many users does this thing have? Within hours of launch, Thread has crossed the mark of 10 million signups. Within 24 hours, it passed 30 million signups. What are the limitations of posting on Threads? Users can post 500 characters in one post on the app. The post supports images, videos, and GIFs. A thread post supports up to 10 media items. Can you use Threads on the web? You can use Thread posts and profiles on the web through a link. However, you can't log in through your own account and make posts. Okay, now this is one of the things I was telling you about when I was saying that Threads is going to pull in information from other accounts that you have. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's called Threads, is because, it's literally pulling in data from somewhere else. Okay. So it says, however, you can't log in through your own account and make posts. That right there is kind of confusing. I did not set it up, But let's keep on reading. How do you delete your Threads account? You can deactivate your Threads account, but to delete the account completely, you must delete your Instagram account. According to Meta's supplemental privacy policy, after users complained about this, Masori said that the company is looking into a way to delete your Threads account separately. Does Threads have a following timeline? At the moment, Threads doesn't have any timeline that shows posts only from accounts that you follow. The home timeline is algorithmic, okay? And the home timeline is algorithmic, and it's a mix of posts from accounts you follow and other folks. We do rank posts lightly and show recommendations, posts from accounts you don't follow in the feed, which is particularly important for a new app before people follow enough accounts. Instagram head Adam Masori said in a reply to user. Okay, and then he says, as long as the big bosses are on here actively listening to feedback, a home feed just for people you follow would be peachy, I guess that's what that's saying. And he says on the list. Okay, so do you DM people on Threads? You can't send message to users on the app. Masori said the goal is to not build yet another inbox and instead let people send threads to other apps. Okay. Is Threads part of the Fediverse? At launch, Meta's new app doesn't support the features of a decentralized social network. That means you can't migrate in or out of the server. However, Masori said that ActivityPub support is coming. Now, I do want to say that in the terms of service, when I was reading it, it did mention this Fediverse, and it did talk about it being decentralized as a social network. So I'm not sure if they're going in and if they're actively changing some of their terms of service to fit certain things. This is a huge company, so if you're going to go sign up for this platform, you want to take a look at what the terms of service say, and you want to know what this means to be a part of the Fediverse or to be a feature of a decentralized social network. Okay, you would like to know what that actually means. And so let's keep on reading. Okay, it says, we're committed to building support for ActivityPub, the protocol behind Mastodon, into the app. We weren't able to finish it for launch given a number of complications that come along with the decentralized network, but it's coming, he said. If you're wondering why this matters, here's a reason. You may one day end up leaving Threads, or hopefully not, end up deplatformed. If that ever happens, you should be able to take your audience with you to another server. Being open can enable that. What are some features that are currently missing from Threads? Okay, so let's take a step back here. They're talking about how, people they end up deplatformed, they end up with their their social media being taken away, and they're trying to determine what would be the outcome. How would you utilize and where would you go if that happened? So these are some of the things that we really need to think about as we're using social media platforms. And it's one of the reasons why I tell a lot of my clients to please make sure that you are building your own website. Please make sure that you have your own hosting and things like that, that even if you're not using your particularly own hosting, that you're paying for a software, a SaaS software as a service, or some sort of platform that allows you to build that is not a social media platform alone. And the reason why is because this is rented digital real estate. This is not your home online. This is just where people can find you and connect with you. And then you need to drive them back to your home online, which I would say is your website, right? Okay, so it says, what are some features that are currently missing from Threads? A following feed, a supportive GIFs, full web version support, editing posts, inline translation, support for user-generated alt text, image text, hashtags, and a way to see your own like posts. What are Threads data collection practices? Because you are using an Instagram account to log into Threads, Meta says that it is part of your Instagram account. Users have already raised questions about the app's data collection, given the privacy labels mentioned in the App Store. Okay, so if you have more facts on Threads that's not covered, they wanted you to leave a comment here. But what I want to do is I want to actually go to the article, the next article, which was the one that I read. And that is this one here. Okay, Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account, Meta says. Okay, so like I said, when you log into Threads, especially if you are already logged into Instagram on your device, it is going to automatically log you into the Threads account. Okay, to begin to give it permission to take the next step, which is do you want it to pull in the data from your Instagram feed, your Instagram profile, which I did want it to do that, so I went ahead and I clicked the button. The next thing is, do you want it to start following all the people that you follow? You could just click all and it start doing that. But then the next step is where, like I said, it got a little sketchy for me, which was the terms of service. And then I started reading it. I got a little confused. I felt a little bit awkward and I just stopped. So, what you want to ask yourself is, if you have been building an audience, if you have been creating content and you've been putting it on your Instagram, and now you are about to connect this to something else that you have never used before, that you do not know how you would like it, what it does, how you feel about it, do you want to have to lose that other platform if you decide to delete it, or are you just going to continually leave it open? And one of the things that seems just a little bit confusing for me is, the purpose of Threads and pulling in all the data from all these other platforms, all these other places, and just kind of having it there, but you can't, according to the last article, you cannot just go in there and post something yourself on the Threads platform and use that as a standalone social media platform where you are posting there. You have to post in other places. And then when you delete from other places, they will delete your Threads. But if you decide that you no longer want your Threads account, it will then in turn delete your Instagram. So let's get into this article. It says Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting Instagram account, Meta says. So Threads, Meta's Twitter rival, is drawing up users at an astonishing pace, amassing 10 million signups in just hours. Now, again, this article can be found on TechCrunch. They are a reputable company that, provides tons of information in the tech space regarding so many things tech worthy. I utilize it for business and things of that nature, but you can learn so much more here as well. But let's get back into this. Okay. It says 10 million signups in just 7 hours, according to the co-founder and chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg. But the highly anticipated new service, which requires an Instagram account for onboarding, features an intriguing stipulation. Deleting a Threads account requires deleting the linked Instagram account. Okay, you see this right here. Deleting a Threads account requires deleting the linked Instagram account. In a supplemental privacy policy, Meta explains you may deactivate your Threads profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account. Now let's read that again. You may deactivate your Threads profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram accounts. The rationale Meta elaborates on the policy page is that a Threads profile is part of the user's Instagram account. The discovery of this stipulation has surprised many users. Okay, one person says, I deactivated my Threads account already, but it turns out you can't delete your Threads account without also deleting your Instagram account. So maybe just don't sign up. And this is Emily Hughes. Okay. Which is really sad after you sign up for a platform and then only to come to find out that, it's tied to something else that you've been working on. And now when you delete it, you have to delete the other thing. And this is one of the reasons why I try to caution business owners a lot of times too. And I say, do your best to go in and read the terms of service. I know it's a lot. I know that, there are so many pages of terms of service. You don't oftentimes feel like doing it, but at least go in and start reading it. If you skim it, get your eyes on there and see what you find out about the platforms that you are about to use, because these are legally binding terms of service that, as long as you use the platform, they hold in a court of law, and they hold up. So can millions of people say that they didn't read it? Yes. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you how this would impact all of us or anything legally, but I do know from my own personal experience that I have used some platforms that had some things written in their terms of service that I wasn't aware of. And then when I went to go read it, I learned that, it was really hard for me to get out of certain things with them. And I contacted lawyers, and they told me, you got to make sure that you're reading that fine print on the website, that you're going to the terms of service, and you're finding out what the company is actually saying and putting on their website. Even if they are updating it on a regular basis, you need to be paying attention. So this goes to any platform that you are using. And sometimes it slows your progress because you got to stop, you got to go, and you got to read. But if you determine that you're not going to, then there are consequences, and unfortunately, this would probably be one of them. So, someone who has created, and I'm even wondering, because I started the steps of going through the threads creation utilized in my Instagram account, but I did not say that I accepted the terms of service. I'm wondering how that applies to me, because for me, when I saw that part, I decided I no longer want a threads account. There's too much that I put into my Instagram and building my audience, that this is not what I want. And I'm not even sure how threads is supposed to benefit me at this time. So let's keep on going here. All right, so it says Instagram, the popular photo sharing platform with more than 2 billion users, rolled out threads on Wednesday to users in more than 100 companies. The app, the latest in a series of fast growing Twitter rivals, is appearing to be the most desirable so far. So, like I said, Wednesday, I saw people signing on. I went to go do it. I changed my mind. Then Thursday, I woke up to this particular article, and now here we are on July the 7th. Okay. All right. So, in the Threads post, Zuckerberg explained the vision he has for the new app. I think there should be public conversation apps with 1 billion plus people on it. Twitter has the opportunity to do this, but hasn't nailed it. Hopefully he will. Okay, hopefully we will. This is what Zuckerberg is saying. Zuckerberg said early Thursday that the app has attracted 10 million signups in just 7 hours, sharing an emoji that suggested that his mind had been blown by the reception. The pace to 10 million makes Threads the fastest growing consumer offering. And of course it will be. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of FOMO. It's because so many people are using it, and so many people are sharing that they're using it. So many people talking about what's happening on there. So everybody's jumping on super fast. And it's kind of like what happened when Clubhouse came out, and so many people got onto Clubhouse, and it was still in beta, but you could not get into Clubhouse without an invitation. And I think that's what slowed down how many people were able to get on there, but it also made it very exclusive. With this being open to the public, and the only thing that you're needing is to have an Instagram account, this makes it so that, even if someone had FOMO and they didn't have an Instagram account, they probably would go create one just to see what everybody's talking about, But for those people who do have an Instagram account, this is what I want to caution you about is, if you end up saying, okay, well, you know what, I don't want Threads anymore, I just want to delete it, you can't. And, in the future, the question would not just be, why can't I delete it, but why would someone no longer want to have a Threads account? It appears that Threads would be something that pulls in your data from everywhere and centralizes it in one place. However, like I said, when I was reading the terms, there was something there about it being decentralized. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish reading this article, and then I'm going to scroll back up to the little section that talks about the supplementary privacy terms and see what we find there. Okay. All right, so um okay, a number of brands, including Netflix, Amazon, NFL, and Pepsi, have also expressed their vote of confidence in Threads by signing up to the app. However, many major names, Google, Apple, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Disney, remain mysteriously absent, at least as of the time of this publication. Okay, so update. As of July 6, 2023, at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After reviewing user feedback over the policy decision, Instagram head Adam Mosseri clarified how account deletion would work. He says that the user can deactivate their Threads account to hide their profile and content, can set their profile to private, or can delete all the individual Threads posts without deleting their Instagram account. But right now, Threads and Instagram are one account. So deleting one would delete the other. Mosseri adds that the company is looking into a way to delete the Threads account separately. Okay, so let me also say that if you logged into your Facebook account in some time and you have a business page or a page, there was a notification that came up and said that your page is no longer connected to your personal profile. And if you're using Instagram and Facebook together, your Instagram account is also connected to your Facebook page or your Facebook profile, depending on how you use it. But if you're using it for business correctly, then if you've given Facebook access to connect your Instagram to your Facebook page, then those two things are connected. And then another thing that happened is when you go into your Instagram, if you have it for business, it then asks you when you're about to post if you would like to keep your Instagram account connected to your Facebook page. So essentially, you see what we're having here is we're having these different platforms be tied together. Now, all of these are owned by the same company anyway. You know, Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. But the thing is, what if you no longer wanted your Threads account? You had to delete your Instagram account. Does that mean that you also have to delete your Facebook page because they're tied together? You know, these are questions that you have to ask, especially if you're running a business, is because this is how you connect with your audience. This is how you share your content. This is how you share about your products. This is how you build your community. You know, this is how you get information about your services out there. So you just want to make sure that you're paying attention and that you're thinking, you're being forward thinking about exactly what could transpire and how you plan on using it. So, okay, so I read the other two articles, but I did not go through and read exactly what the supplemental privacy policy is. I'm not sure if this is what I started reading on the app, but I'm going to go ahead and click on it here and see what comes up. Okay, so let's see if this is exactly what I was reading before. All right, so it says Threads supplemental privacy policy. So Threads is a service provided by Instagram and is part of the Instagram platform. The Threads service allows Instagram users to create a Threads profile as part of their Instagram account and then to share, view, and interact with content on the Threads app and website as further described in the Threads terms of use. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read through some of this. I'm not a lawyer. I cannot break down the legal jargon of everything. I will do my best to interpret it as, you know, to tell you how I'm reading it. You listen to it. You think about how you're taking it. And then you have to make your best decision for yourself and for your business as to how you are going to use this platform, if you're going to use it. All right. So the Threads will also integrate with third-party services, okay, via an interoperable protocol, okay, which will allow Thread users to share content with, view, and interact with content from, follow, and be followed by people outside of Threads who use such services. Okay, these are the third-party services. The integration with the third-party services is not available at launch, but will be coming to Threads soon. You may deactivate your Threads profile at any time, but your Threads profile can only be deleted by deleting your Instagram account. There it is again. Okay, the Meta privacy policy describes the information we process to support Meta products, including threads. This thread supplemental privacy policy supplements the Meta privacy policy by including additional details regarding the information that we collect, process, and share to support threads, including when you interact with threads using a third party service. Okay, so I'm going to have to go through and understand this because it's basically saying that there are certain things that will apply to you even if you don't have a Threads account, but you interact with Threads utilizing a third party service. And I'm wondering what those third party services are. Okay, so in addition, please see the Meta cookies policy for information regarding our use of cookies and our similar technologies. All right, so this is talking about information that they collect from third parties and how they use information. But this one was talking about the uses of threads. So let's go ahead over here and look at the usage, the threads terms of use. So welcome to the threads service as defined below. These threads terms of use, the terms govern use of the threads service and supplement and amend to the Instagram terms of use and the Instagram community guidelines, which are incorporated into these terms by reference. So this is why I said, I'm not a lawyer. And, unless you are, we have to either seek legal counsel or, sit and try to understand these things on our own, because like I told you before, a lot of this may have some legalese in it and it makes it a little bit more difficult to interpret, but it's good to get your eyes on it or at least listen to someone like me who's going to read it to you so that you know what it says. Okay, and I don't know that I'm going to go through the whole thing, but I will read some of it. Okay, so the thread service is accessed through and part of the Meta products provided by Meta Platforms Inc. Meta and your use of the threads service is deemed part of your use of Instagram. All right, let me go back through that statement. The thread service is accessed through and part of the Meta products provided by Meta Platforms Inc. Meta, and your use of threads is deemed part of your use of Instagram as defined below. Okay, so threads is considered Instagram. It's just a part of it. This is how I'm understanding. So depending on your country of residence, aspects of the service may be owned, operated, or controlled by Meta Platforms Inc., Meta Platforms Ireland Limited, or its affiliates. Okay, references to us, we, and our mean either Meta Platforms Inc. or Meta Platforms Ireland Limited or its affiliates as appropriate. Any capitalized terms used but not defined wherein have the meaning given in the Instagram terms. In the event of any conflict between these terms and Instagram terms, the terms govern solely with respect to your use of the thread service and solely to the extent of the conflict. By using the thread service, you agree to these terms. Okay, so dispute resolution on an individual basis. You and we agree, this is what it's saying. You and we agree to resolve all disputes arising out of the relating of these terms or the thread service in accordance with the arbitration and or forum selected provision in Instagram terms in effect at the time that you or we commence a dispute. Okay, so as I am reading this, I just want to say one thing that I'm trying to understand is that even if, if someone like me decides that I don't want to use threads, does the fact that it is a part of Instagram mean that the account is kind of just there anyway, but just has not been activated? And then what will it automatically pull in data? And do I have to give my consent on these terms for the Threads platform in order for those things to happen? And I know that this is a really weird question, but the thing is that as we are utilizing platforms, we're in a very, very digital society. So, we don't know what type of innovations are coming. And I would just like to know, what all this means for a user like me who chooses not to use threads. I understand that there are people who may want to use threads, but what does it mean for someone like me as well? Okay, so came down to this part down here, and I saw on content. So it says content, the Threads service features and tools. If you upload or share any Threads content, you hereby grant us a non-exclusive, royalty-free, transferable, sub-licensable worldwide license to host, use, distribute, modify, run, copy, publicly perform or display, translate, and create derivative works of your Threads content in accordance with the public policy and Threads supplemental privacy policy. You also represent and warrant that you have or have obtained all license rights, all necessary rights, licenses, consents, permissions, power, and or authority, including the intellectual property rights to grant Meta the right to use your Threads content, and your Threads content will not contain any material that infringes any third-party rights, including any intellectual property rights or any applicable laws, unless an exemption of limitation applies under applicable law. This license will end when your Threads content is deleted from the Threads server, subject to the deletion limits noted below. All right, so I know that there is language inside of the meta terms that have to deal with our content, like when you upload photos and things like that, which is one of the reasons why we have to read this, because you need to know what you're putting on Facebook and Instagram and all these other platforms, what you are uploading of yourself, your children, for your business, and things of that nature. But let's go ahead and keep on reading. So when using Threads service, all content that you upload or share must comply with the Instagram community guidelines, and as the service is part of Instagram. I wanted to come down here to the content deletion and deactivation or terminating your Threads profile. So, Threads service features and tools. Meta has the right to remove any Threads content that is stored on the Threads service from being accessible from within the Threads service if Meta believes that such Threads content violates these terms of the Instagram terms, or Meta, if permitted or required to do so by applicable law, provided notice to the third-party servers about enforceable actions taken with respect to the Threads content, and take any action that Meta believes is necessary to appropriate if Meta reasonably believes that such Threads content infringes the rights or of others and or could create liability and adverse legal or regulatory implications for Meta and other Threads users. To the extent permitted, applicable by law, we can refuse to provide or stop providing all or part of Threads service to you, including terminating or disabling your profile and access to Threads service without notice, or after providing reasonable notice with required by applicable law for any reason, including to protect our community or service, including Instagram, if you violate terms of Instagram terms, or where we are permitted to required to do so by law. We can also terminate or change the Threads service or stop providing all or part of Threads service in our reasonable discretion. If you believe your profile has been terminated in error, or you want to disable or permanently delete your profile, consult the Help Center. When you deactivate your Threads profile, your content and profile will be hidden from view by others, but it will remain on the Threads servers. The Threads content will be deleted from the server if you delete individual Threads content or your Instagram account. When you request to delete your Instagram account, the deletion process will automatically begin no more than 30 days after your request. It may take up to 90 days to delete Threads content from Threads servers after the deletion process has begins, subject to Section 5B interoperable capabilities below. While the deletion process for Threads is being undertaken, such Threads content is no longer visible on the Threads service by Threads users, but remain subject to these terms and Threads supplemental privacy policy. After the Threads content is deleted from the Threads server, it may take up to 90 days to remove it from backups and disaster recovery systems. Should you choose to delete your Instagram account, the deletion of your Threads content from Threads servers may occur within 90 days where 1. Your Threads content has been used, copied, reposted, or shared by others in accordance with the license granted under these terms, and they have not deleted it, in which case this license will continue to apply until the content is deleted. Wow. Okay. So I guess, this maybe talking about, when you go on Instagram or Twitter or something like that and you repost someone's content, you share it. Essentially that sharing is now tied to your page, right? And normally if you repost something on those two platforms that I talked about, then that content is still there. However, if you think about when you use Facebook, if you share something and then that page is deleted, that content becomes no longer available. So what this is saying though is because Threads can pull in from third parties and everything, if you have something posting from your Threads account and then someone shares it and then you go and you delete your Instagram account, which in turn deletes your Threads account, it sounds to me, and this is how I'm interpreting it, it sounds to me like the other content that someone already posted is still going to remain there until they delete it, and then this license is still subject to remain in place with your content on the platform because someone else has shared it. I don't know if you're a lawyer out here and you have better understanding of this, let me know. Okay, so deletion will restrict, I think this is where we stopped. Deletion would restrict our ability to investigate or identify illegal activities, violations, or terms of policies. For example, to identify or investigate misuse of the products or systems, to protect the safety and security of our products, systems, and Threads users, to comply with legal obligations such as the preservation of evidence, comply with the request of judicial administration authority, law enforcement. I think this stuff is normal though. A government agency, in which case the content will be retained for no longer than is necessary for the purpose for which it has been retained. The exact duration will vary on a case-by-case basis. Number 6, if you delete or we disable your profile, these terms shall terminate as an agreement between you and us by this section and this section and the section in the Instagram terms called our agreement. And what happens if we disagree? Will still apply even after your profile is terminated, disabled, or deleted. Okay, so like I said, I think it's important that you go in and you read these terms and conditions. It's not that long. I already read a large portion of it for you, but go in here, read it for yourself so that you understand what you are reading, and please make a wise decision on if you want to utilize this platform like so many others. Think through how you use your Instagram account. Ask yourself if you're going to want to keep using your your Instagram. Ask yourself if it's important for you right now that you stay connected in the same way that everyone else is, or are you okay with letting everybody else kind of experiment and then bringing feedback to you on what's happening? Because I will say for me, in this particular aspect, I am willing to read what TechCrunch has put out here and listen to what other people are saying and, gather information on how the platform works. And in the future, if I deem that it is beneficial for myself and for my business, then maybe. But at this time, no, this is not for me. This is not for my business right now. And I would like to see how it's going to impact my business, not being a Threads user, but being an Instagram and a Facebook user. So I use other Meta products, but not Threads. I would also like to see how Threads plans to pull in content from different third-party services, as it mentioned, and what this means for the rest of us. I'm also going to go in and do a little bit of research on what is really going on with Twitter, in regards to some of the changes that are new, and, just try to stay abreast of these things. I just want to remind you that as you come online and you are building your business, you're sharing, you're connecting with your audience, and, you're trying to gain leads and customers and clients. Please make sure that you do not just rent your digital real estate, but that you go ahead and you own some. So go make sure that if you don't already have a website, you do get one built. If you have questions about that, or if you're looking for a platform to build it on, please let me know, because again, I'm an agency owner. I do have resources and platforms and things like that. And as a matter of fact, I will link one of our all-in-one business box platforms right below this video, in case this is something that you're interested in. You just want to have a quick start to go ahead and jumpstart having your own platform and everything that you need. And then, like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. So hopefully you found this helpful, and we will chat soon. Bye.